Howdy! How is everybody out in YouTube land today? I'm going to be working on a little project here that is burning using a wood burner on leather. Now, I've heard that this can be done. I've never tried this before, so this may be a drastic fail or it might be a huge success. We're going to find out. I'm not real sure exactly where to put the heat setting on the wood burner, so we're going to practice around with it a little bit. We're going to figure out how this works. Now, this again is a walnut hollow wood burner, and I got the calligraphy tip in there, my favorite tip. You have all different kinds that you can use with one of these wood burners. I like the calligraphy tip because it is very versatile with that little hook on the end of it, and you can move it different directions to get different effects out of the tip. So I tend to use that a lot. If you haven't used a wood burner before and are new to my videos, I'll tell you this, these things are hot. So you don't ever touch the middle end of it down here. Ever. Especially when it's on. It will brand you. It has a rubber grip around it for a reason, because even the shaft tends to get hot when you use it. So when you want to remove a tip and it's hot, you use a pair of pliers to pull that tip out of it, put it in something glass or metal. Just drop it in something glass or metal so that you don't catch nothing on fire or melt anything. And then you use the pliers to put the next tip in that you want to use. But remember, this entire shaft down here is hot, so you don't want to burn yourself with that. Best thing to do is to unplug it, turn it off, let it sit for a while and cool down before you change tips. But if you're in a big hurry to try to get your project done, sometimes that's not something that's feasible. I'd rather do that than get burnt, but hey, that's just me. Your mileage may vary. So there you have my little speech about it. They're pretty simple to use. You know, it's just like writing with a hot pen. You don't press, you just pull it along the line that you want to put on. I've used peel and stick on my little scrap piece of leather here that I'm going to practice on, and I put some acorns down on there, 4 different acorn patterns that I put down on the leather, and I'm going to burn them, and we're going to see what happens here. So your guess is as good as mine. And I've got the setting right now. The dial is right there on the high part of the yellow. It starts out yellow and then it goes to gold and then to an orange and to a red. So that's where I'm starting out. And since this is just a scrap piece that I'm playing with, you know, I'll put it down. Yeah, it's a little warm, but it's not as hot as I would like for it to be. And it's been setting for a little bit. So it should be hot enough to use. So we're going to turn it up. I'm going to put it right between the gold and the orange. And we're going to let that heat up. I'll just hold it here while it is heating up. Now, if you ever see it glowing, that's too doggone hot for anything. So, you know, you don't ever want to see the tip of the thing glowing. You're about to set the house afire. Just give it a few more minutes to heat up some. And it may need to be a little hotter than that. I don't know. I know your lighter settings are for like glass and stuff like that, so it may have to go up high. And clear some of this stuff jumping up on my screen off of here so I can see what I'm doing. Hopefully y'all are having a good weekend and enjoying yourselves. It still needs to be a little hotter. Well, we'll crank her up. Put her up there just at the beginning of the red, and let's see what happens. Give it a few more seconds to heat up. Because when I burn it, I want it to be burnt. I don't want it just fooling around here. Main business. I don't want to burn clear through it, but now this is a fairly thick piece of leather that I've got. Let's say there. I'd say maybe a 1/4 inch. It's just a scrap piece to play with. And who knows? I mean, if this comes out nice, I may cut it out and put it on something. We'll try it down here and see what happens. Burning through the plastic on that pattern. Yeah, it seems to be doing the job. Pretty hot. Now just lay it right on the side of that calligraphy tip and just pull it along the line. I'm not pressing because it's just burning right through that plastic on that pattern. That peeling stick is like a plastic vinyl thing. Now I turn the tip the other direction to do the other side of it there. Now leather has a grain, but it's not as pronounced as what you'll have in wood. So it doesn't tend to grab your blades and fling them like it will with the wood. I chose to burn this one first because this was the last of the patterns I put down. It'll be the easiest, I think, to pull up off of there to see what it's doing before I try to go on with any more of them, in case I need to adjust anything or give up or whatever I need to do here. Not every piece of artwork you do is perfection. I thought it would be nice for you to see something that I hadn't never done before. So you'd say, well, you know, hey, she's a perfectionist at every doggone thing she does because she's practiced it a million times. This one, I mean, I've used a wood burner on lots of different things, but I've not burnt leather with it. Anytime I've ever wanted to do anything with leather, I've usually hand tooled it, you know, where you take it's like a punch thing that you put down on it with the design, and you wet the leather down and give it a little poke, maybe 2 or 3 pokes to get it to take in. It's called leather stamping. But trying to burn on leather is not something that I have tried to do before. Okay, now, yeah, I got that all the way. So we'll peel the outside portion of that off first, obviously. That's how they always come off first. And then I'm going to take my little pokey tool here, get up underneath this part, and peel that off. And up underneath this part and peel that off. And then up underneath this part and peel that off. Now see, once this is all done, you take a leather dye to paint it with. I think gourd dye will also work on it. If you want to paint them. Not too shabby for our first attempt at an acorn burnt onto leather. Right there. Let me get this sticky pattern stuff out of the way, and we'll work on another one here. Let's see. I think this is the next one that I put down. So since we know that it works, I'll probably just go ahead and burn these in before I remove the pattern paper off the rest of it. Sometimes it's easier to move it around than to try to get the burner in the exact spot you want it. Let's say this shows you that anybody can do this. You don't need to be an expert at it. There again, I'll show you right here on the dial. I've got it set right there between the orange and the red on this. It's where I got the heat setting. That seems to be the perfect place for it, for this leather. It's easier to start with a low setting and go higher than it is to start high and burn your project up and have to start over again. Now, I know somebody's probably going to ask me, where do you get leather? Well, you can get a lot of different places. Look on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of places that sell it. Tandy Leather is probably the first place that I would go looking if I wanted to buy anything in bulk. If you just want scraps, there's a lot of places you can go online to get scraps. It depends on what your finished project's going to be. I mean, if you're looking to make purses or wallets or belts or anything of that nature, you probably want to go with like full sheets of leather. And if you want to do keychains and, you know, smaller items like that, coasters and that, you could probably go with scraps. It just depends on what you want to do. I have a tendency to do smaller things. I like little things that I can set out at the craft shows or put on my Etsy store. A lot of times people want to buy a gift for somebody, but they don't want to put a whole lot of money into it, and they don't want to get, you know, something really big. I mean, your hand tooled purses, if they're really done well, those can sell, you know, between $300 and $600 a piece, depending upon what they've got on them. But you've got a lot more work involved in doing something like that too, because you've got to, you know, do your pattern. You've got to burn your design on it. You got to dye it, stain it, however you're fixing it up. You've got to sew it together. Put whatever hardware on it has to go on it. Say with it like a set of coasters or a keychain, you don't have near the work involved in that. You're not going to make near the money, but you got to think about who your audience is, you know. See all those little hash lines in there? I'm just putting little hash marks in on them. That's awful small detail, and it'll show up the same once it's burnt in as it's showing on the pattern. But it goes along pretty quick. Just follow your lines around your design. Somebody said the other day they couldn't draw anything but water from the kitchen sink. Lord have mercy. I mean, here you're not having to draw. It's all you're doing is following the lines. You don't even have to do that perfect. Keep in mind, nothing in nature is perfect. Okay, burn in. We will turn off the burner, set it aside, get it so that the tip is not going to touch nothing. Don't want it burning anything. And set that right off over there. Now we'll take this off and see what our finished product looks like. See how our wood burning skills paid off on leather. Gonna scrape at that a little bit because burnt so many little tiny pieces of that plastic. We want it to come off of there. Same thing over here on this one. Scrape all that plastic loose. You could wood burn leather sheaths for knives or different things that you could do with this. Your imagination is your limit. You could wood burn steering wheel covers for vehicles. Put folks' names on them, or if they're into NASCAR, you know, you could do beer cozies or something with NASCAR, their favorite NASCAR driver or car numbers and stuff on there. Football season is here. You could do stuff for football season. A lot of people have favorite teams and such. But there it is. All done up. See, a little bit of pattern stuff there. We'll scrape off of it. Looking pretty doggone good. For a first attempt anyway. And that's how you do wood burning on leather. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social media so everybody gets to see it, and stay tuned for whatever I come up with in the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, Brenda's crafty. Be like Brenda.